After fleeing the scene, Washington later drove to the West Bank, where Phillips then again was present, picked him up, and drove him away with the knowledge of what he had just done. Finally, when Washington was finally arrested for these odious crimes by the NOPD, Phillips was right there again, right there by his side. Defendant Washington has committed horrendous, unspeakable acts, and she chose to meet him, drive him to safety, conceal his whereabouts, and obstruct the lawful investigation into these heinous crimes. Shanika Phillips is the second indictment secured by the DA's office stemming from the tragic deaths of 8-year-old Joseph Washington, 5-year-old Jayla Washington, and 3-year-old Avery Washington in the October 18th house fire. Joseph Washington was indicted in this room on March 7th by the grand jury for 3 counts of first-degree murder and obstruction of justice and remains in custody pending trial. This office has and will continue to, we have persisted in working to use this grand jury process to secure key indictments against the most violent and dangerous offenders in this city. Under the guidance of Chief of the Homicide Unit, Matt Durbis, this team has delivered a prolific string of high-profile indictments which have taken ruthless offenders off the street. This is yet another reminder to anyone who aids or assists a dangerous criminal before, during, or after they commit crimes in the city, they will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Keith?
All right. We will take questions from the media on topic only. We'll begin with Ashley Hamilton from WGN.
Can you talk about the relationship that you know that Phillips had to Joseph?
Our understanding is that she was his girlfriend.
Go ahead, Ashton Brothers from Fox.
So as far as her arriving at the scene, can you give us a little bit of a timetable of how long she was actually there, and then kind of a time frame from there of when she actually met up with Mr. Washington?
Actually, I absolutely could do that, but I'm not going to do that. I understand the desire to know everything possible about the details of this case, but we still have to prove both of these cases in court. And I'm going to be a little circumspect about what details we're at liberty to release at this time.
Are you able to answer how long they've been in a relationship?
I'm not going to say that at this time. I understand the question, though. Yes?
Jonah Gilmore.
You call this horrendous and unspeakable. Talk about how important it was to get this indictment and to get her off the street.
You know, there's not a lot of people committing the most violent crimes in the city of New Orleans. It's a small number of people. This act in itself by Mr. Washington is, I mean, as a father, as a parent, as a prosecutor in this town, it's one of the most odious events and acts I've ever seen. And obviously, prosecutors and detectives want to take those bad actors off the street. This case is important because too many times in this community, there is a loved one, a friend, an associate who aids, abets, harbors individuals after they've committed crimes. That is not the culture of a safe space. That is not the culture of the city of New Orleans. That is a crime. If someone helps someone get away or tries to help them get away or assists in any way before, during, or after a crime, that in itself is a crime. So it's really important, one, that we hold this individual accountable for taking the lives of those 3 children, but it's also important for anyone who is observing this from afar, who is not involved in the criminal legal system right now, to understand the best thing you can do for your loved one if they commit a crime in this town, is to encourage them and assist them with turning themselves in. Thank you for that question.
Next up, Whitney from WWL.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you? Just a clarification, I know you're not going into detail of how long this person's in front of the home, but did you say that she was caught on surveillance or a witness saw?
A number of witnesses saw Shanika Phillips present as this house was ablaze and the defendant was fleeing the scene.
And, sorry, okay. My real question was, are there any other indictments forthcoming in this case?
As in all cases, we're going to pull on any loose thread, and we're going to follow the evidence. If the evidence takes us to someone else, then we're going to be knocking on their door. If the evidence takes us to additional charges for persons that we already know about, there will be more charges forthcoming. All we can do, all any prosecutor should ever do, is just follow the evidence.
All right, let's see, it's time for FEMA.
There was a vehicle that was abandoned in the Mississippi River, I believe on the West Bank, as a part of his attempt to flee or evade something. Is that connected at all with Shanika?
I'm not going to go into the details of the case in terms of the things that we're going to have to prove in court. An indictment is simply the first step. Obviously, there are going to be jurors and a judge who are going to be vetting the case that we have to bring. And I understand the public is really anxious to know everything they can about how something this horrible could ever occur. But I am not going to get into details that could damage or in any way molest the case that this office is responsible for bringing. I understand.
Can you say if any other agencies or like law enforcement or anybody helped with the investigation or arrest?
I can tell you that the NOPD detectives have been amazing in this case. They continue to be that. The relationship there in terms of the information they're able to provide in real time, they've been nimble. Denise, who has been working very dutifully in screening this case and presenting it to the grand jury, she has been nimble, and both agencies are working in partnership and deep collaboration to try to find some measure of justice for this mother and this family as they go through this. But we're constantly learning lessons, and the relationship is constantly getting stronger between the DA's office and the police department, and I can't thank them enough for their work to help us bring everyone to justice that was involved in taking the lives of these 3 young children.
All right, Jonah.
And I know you just briefly mentioned the family. Have you spoken with the family
We-
about
we-
this indictment?
We speak a lot. We were together just a few days ago. We were together a couple weeks before that, and I'm going to continue to keep them in the loop. It's heartbreaking to see the pain on their faces that probably will never go away. So yeah, we've been in contact with them, and we'll continue to stay in contact with them.
Hey, like you say, you spoke with the family. I mean, even just for our newsroom, this was a very hard story to report on. It's hard for us to even come here today to continue talking about this because of how horrific this case is. Do you know when she was picked up today, has anybody spoken to her from your office? Did she know that this was coming? Didn't seem like she was prepared for this, if at all spoken.
No, that's the thing, and the public needs to know, we don't send warning notes before we come. You commit a crime, you need to be held account. And there's no advance warning. There's no text message.
I mean, I guess I'm saying, did she appear that, some people when they, I guess, know they're guilty of a crime or feel that they're guilty,
Any kind of
they,
remorse?
any emotion, like, that was visible. I don't assume
I don't, I can't answer that question. You know, I can tell you, I don't know what remorse would look like in a case like this. You know, this is one that is going to be keeping us up late and waking us up in the middle of the night, probably for years to come.